I can pick up pretty much anything in the software development realm and focus on it, and using the tools that I got out of the program, I think I have become proficient, and then even go beyond that in developing whatever I need to succeed in my next step.
Hello, welcome, John, to this PDM interview. How are you doing today?
Hey, Bob, doing pretty well. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. Thanks for joining us. And today we're going to talk a bit about your experience in PDM, what you got out of it. And so, yeah, if you're ready, we dive straight in.
Sure thing.
Cool. So tell us a bit about you and what you do for a living.
Okay, a little bit about me. Went to college, became an electrical engineer, and got a bachelor's degree in electrical and computer engineering. And throughout my career, which has lasted, I guess I've been doing it for almost 30 years now, I seem to get a little further and further away from the hardware side and get a little further and further into the software side. So, over the years, I've worked on lots of different things, designing hardware, all the way up to doing a lot of embedded software for microcontrollers. And now I'm moving closer to pure software.
Cool. So so the shift from hardware to software, that was kind of where you were in your career when you started PDM, right? And Can you tell us why you joined the program?
I felt like I was getting enough software work at work, but I felt like I wanted to take it to that next level. I really wanted to get to the point where I felt like I could work independently as a software contractor or a consultant, and maybe develop my own apps. Whereas before, everything I always did was usually some kind of small utility that worked along with my career, or doing some post-processing of data, things like that, where I wanted to get more into the pure developing app aspect of it.
Cool. So yeah, from scripting and ad hoc things more into more mature applications, right?
Right.
Cool. So what were the results you got from the program?
The program was really hard. It really pushed me out of my comfort level with a lot of things. Lots of times I'd get a little stuck and I'd work with it, but then I was able to go to you specifically a lot of times on parts of the program and get some advice on which direction to go. And that was really nice, because a lot of times, especially in my career, I'm not working with a lot of software people. I'm working with more hardware people, and they're really not helpful when you're really stuck on something software wise. I mean, a lot of people who are out there who do hardware or know someone who does hardware and software, hardware people are not the best software coders. They're just not. They have a whole different aspect to it. It seems like they just like you trying to get it done and not really following all those steps you need to do good software. And but working in the program, the focus being almost all software, it was really good to get that pure software advice on things. And I learned a whole lot from doing it that way.
Yeah, so that was Python, software best practices, and in your case, a lot of Django as well, right?
Right. And I had never touched Django before the class. I had done some stuff with Flask, because I was, again, a hardware guy. I was kind of going bare bones with what I needed to get stuff done. Flask was a good answer for a lot of that, but move it up to doing full-fledged apps. Django brings a lot to the table, and I was really excited to learn the whole new framework for that.
Awesome. All right, so shifting gears a bit, what did you feel when you started working with us? What went through your mind? Were you excited, nervous?
I was excited for the opportunity to start working with a group of people and really kind of push myself to see what I could do. At the same time, I felt like, I'm kind of an imposter in this group of software people, because talking with other people in the program, there's a very diverse group. There's people who've been doing software for a long time. There's people who are getting new into it. But I felt like I've never felt like a true software engineer, I guess is the way to put it, because of my hardware background. I've always felt like it was I was splitting my time between things. But so I was very I guess, a little anxious going into it, saying I'm not going to be able to compete with these people. I'm going to look kind of stupid getting started with it. But I never felt that way once I really got started with the program. Everything was very encouraging. Hearing about the accomplishments of other people in the program and what they were working on, I realized that, you know, nobody's a software god. People aren't born into this and can just do it. As for me, I was excited to learn that I could increase my experience and get to a point where I felt like I was a lot more confident with what I was doing.
Awesome. Glad to hear that. Yeah, there are a lot of people in this industry self-taught, and it's also a relatively young industry. But yeah, that's great to hear. And so a bit more about the PDM experience. So did it exceed what you had expected?
I didn't really have a whole lot of expectations as to what it was going to be going in, but I would say, as far as my expectations of what I was going to get out of the class program, it was yes, it exceeded my expectations. I feel like it was really intense for the 10 weeks I was in it. But at the same time, I kind of wish I'd had a little bit longer, you know, to take care of the stuff I wanted to. I had a very ambitious project I picked out to start with and didn't quite finish it by the end of the program. But I mean, life happens, things come up, and I was able to accommodate that, work that into things. I still learned through the whole time, even though I wasn't able to commit as much time as I wanted to the program. I still got a huge amount out of it, and I was very glad I decided to do it.
Cool. And what was your favorite part of the program?
I really liked the calls. Every call we had between the code clinic and the mindset calls, I learned something new every time. Even when I went into the code clinic saying, "Oh, this is a topic, you know, I've worked on before," you still heard something new every single time I went to a call. It was really good hearing the different perspectives from other people in the group, and I got to interact with people I would have never had the opportunity to otherwise. I mean, just a diverse group that from lots of experience to brand new to software, and I just feel like those parts that were outside of the technical parts were very enriching overall to really hear those perspectives.
Okay, yeah, you got web developers, data engineers. It's a very wide audience, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and what was your aha moment at PDM or the Pybites approach? Was the thing that would really work for you?
A lot of it was the mindset part really helped a lot, especially as far as, you know, having the right attitude going into it, little things to make sure you stay on track. I mean, and they almost feel like common sense once you learn what they are, about how to plan out your time and how to commit yourself to certain blocks of time to get things done. There's a whole lot to it that when you hear it and you learn it from the program, it says, "Oh, well, that's common sense. Of course I should have," but I didn't follow those things myself. It was one of those things where I had to kind of see it in practice and see some good examples of it to kind of set goals, plan out what I wanted to do, and be able to commit to those things. And those were things that I knew I was personally lacking as I entered the program. I think I probably even told you and Julian that at the beginning, that, you know, these are the problems. These are where I'm going to fail in the program. I'm going to have problems with, you know, staying committed to something, planning out and actually making progress on things. But the program itself really came together to kind of help guide me through all that. And I felt like I can now carry those things on to other parts of my career and hopefully, you know, push myself a little further to get further into being a software developer.
Yeah, that's a great point, because of course there are the technical complexity or challenges with the project, but equally important is how to persist through those 10 weeks of PDM, how to stay motivated, how to structure your work. And yes, we help you with that, of course, but it definitely requires discipline and that mindset, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. How did your life change through PDM?
It's still really early on, but I feel like now I can pursue those goals I had, the longer term goals that I had at the beginning of being kind of moving more into an independent software developer, or taking on a job with a company where I'd work a little bit closer with software. I feel like that's all within my grasp now. And before, I felt like that was just too far out there, that because I didn't have the in-depth experience lots of software developers have. I mean, there's software developers out there who've been doing the same thing for 15 years. And it's like they're very focused and they're very specialized. Whereas me, I've been more of a jack of all trades, and I feel like it's hurt me a little bit in the past. But now I can see that it doesn't matter, because I can pick up pretty much anything in the software development realm and focus on it, and using the tools that I got out of the program, I think I have become proficient, and then even go beyond that in developing whatever I need to succeed in my next step.
That's a huge win.
Yeah, that's a big one.
So not only your app, but yeah, like we always like to say, we don't just give you the fish, we teach you how to fish, right? So you can apply what you learn in the program, and now it seems like you're more confident taking on any software development task. And
definitely, yeah.
Nice. So where would you be now if you hadn't joined PDM?
I would be right where I was when I started. I would still be, doing my day job, and I was always learning about new software techniques and I was always taking a new tutorial about the latest web framework and stuff, but I never really built anything. I was really good about going through tutorials and finding all kinds of online resources, and I always felt like I learned it, but because I never put it into practice, because I had so few opportunities to do that at my job, I feel like I never internalized it. So it never became part of me. It became familiar to me, and I could go back and review it, and I say, oh yeah, I remember how that works. But I never really learned the skills you really need to use it. And now, through PDM, I understand that you have to go out and build. Building is the important thing. If you go out and build something with it, those skills suddenly become, it's almost like muscle memory. You start getting those skills down, and you can start applying those to other things as they come up.
Yeah, it's kind of deliberate practice on steroids, right? You start to make more connections.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Yeah, the now famous tutorial paralysis situation we hear a lot of people are stuck in. Yeah. Okay, so if you could tell someone that is on the fence about PDM, or is even in PDM, is not getting the results, what is one piece of advice that you would give them?
That it's definitely worth it. If you put the time into it and you commit to making the effort to get something out of it, you're going to get something out of it. I don't care what level you're on, or what skill level, or where you are in your career. This program is going to extend you beyond where you'd be if you didn't take this program. This program is going to be helpful in lots of different ways. You're going to get experience of a lot of different technical software frameworks, and you're going to get a lot of experience dealing with your mindset, how to really keep focus and productivity going. All those things are really important for any kind of software career, and you will definitely get that in this program, and it's definitely worth it.
Nice. And do you want to mention any highlights or things that happen in the program, anecdotes, whatever?
Can't think of anything specific. I mean, it was just the calls were always really good. The calls were good. You were able to communicate with people especially during this time with COVID going through the whole world. A lot of times we're isolated. I've been working from home a majority of the time for the last year, and it's been really good to have all these interactions with other people, because I don't tend to get that very much with the company I'm working for, because a lot of times, we're working on independent things. Yeah, I get to see everybody's faces for 5 minutes every day when we check in and things like that. But the interactions with people and hearing their stories and what they're working on, it was really enriching, and I'm very glad I had those experiences.
No, glad to hear that. Yeah, and I think PDM is a really great community, and people open up and they share stories, and yeah, I think I see people building these valuable relationships in the program. Yeah, so that's great. Any final words before I let you go?
Uh, if you're out there on the fence, so we just covered this, but I mean, take the chance. It's it's going to be well worth it.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for your time and share your experience here. Very valuable. And yeah, we had a great time working with you. Of course, Django as well. That's was much fun, and yeah, really happy to see what you built, because you had indeed quite a challenging app, and you did get to that MVP state. There's still things to implement, but you definitely went from 0 to 1 in my view. So
But yeah, there's something there now, and there wasn't anything there before. So that's what it's all about.
it was your passion project as well, right? So
That's right. Yep.
yeah, awesome. Well, thanks, John, and yeah, we'll stay in touch.
All right. Thanks, Bob.